Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Authentic as Fuck podcast. My name is San. This is Jelena. Hi, Jelena.
Hello.
So, Jelena's been working on some carousels that I'm going to share my screen. We're going to take a look. And Jelena, you're going to explain to us, right? What?
Okay. The first one. So the red one is one that we worked on and that failed.
Okay.
So
the failed
now we
one.
have.
Okay.
So
Why? So can you
this
explain?
one.
Yeah. So why good people suffer the most? Have you heard good things happen to good people? Imagine a good person saying no, and the response is, "You're the only one who can make me feel better. You're the best at this. I couldn't do it without you. People are mean. You're the only one who understands this. It's not my fault. You made me do this." The truth is, manipulation happens to good people unless they learn to recognize it. I think it's pretty good.
Really?
Okay, so can you talk about it a little bit?
Sure, I can. So we have like two versions. Like below that is different ending.
Mm-hmm.
So what to let me see my notes, of course.
Well, how did you come up with that, first of all?
Well, I was
See, this is kind of like the idea, of how did you come up with that? People ask me that
yeah.
all the time. So how did you come up with that?
Okay. So I was thinking yesterday I was listening to one lecture, I'm in one community that it's about psychotherapy, and the person asked the question, can empaths be manipulated? So this was a question in the chat box, in the chat. So this woman replied to that question like, of course. So I mean, yes. So this was the answer. And then I started thinking about that, and actually how I am, I trust people easily, so I needed to learn to be observant.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about that. And the third thing was one member from community, I think it was Moaki. He shared one. No, it was Azuka. Azuka shared a video of a guilt tripping. So a guy was in a pet store. It's a funny video, and then he needed to pay with his card to pay a bill, and then they say before that question, do you want to save a dog and donate $1? Like yes or no? And he said yes. The next question, so you don't want to save the dog? And he said no. And then, do you like dogs? And he said yes. And then, but you wouldn't save a dog if they need $1 to be saved. Like, and do you have double negation? And do you have a guilt there? And and then so this device is like waiting, like you have dots, and then dog is dead. Are you satisfied now?
Okay, continue.
So I was thinking about that and about guilt tripping. So after that guilt tripping, then I was thinking about an example. So if you have an empath, they can be easily guilt tripped. So I was like, what would be an example to put in my meat truth sandwich?
Mhm. So you
So
just
then
thought
I
of a
was
lot
searching
of
for
guilt
it.
trips. Yeah.
Yes, actually, then I went to ChatGPT, and
Oh,
then
you
I
did.
asked
Okay.
ChatGPT, yeah, how to explain a kid by an example. What is manipulation?
Mhm.
Something like that. And then they reply something that I couldn't use. So I then said, give me types of manipulation or something like that. And then I just used these examples. So these sentences, I just shortened them a little bit. And that's it.
Okay. You have this other part here that now I'm seeing.
Yeah. So then when I finished it,
Hmm.
I talked to Leah. She's also a member of our community
Hmm.
and small group leader. So after discussing with her, this is her suggestion. Maybe that this might be an option as well. To say that she would like a person to know that that actually whatever it is, you need to be like observant on that. Whether you play along or you resist
Hmm.
it, just keep your eyes open.
Okay. I think so. You came up with the. So what you did was you came up with phrase after phrase after phrase that are common, right? Like you're the only one.
Yeah.
Like you're the only one who can make this better, or you're the best at this. I couldn't do it without you.
Yeah.
You're the only one who understands. Um, things like that, right?
And
Yeah.
what helped me was that I was using sentences that I could relate to personally. So that was
Hmm.
something that I would have a problem to kind of resist if someone would
Yeah.
say like, yeah, only you can help me. Then I'm like,
Hmm.
how to say no to this.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper. So, what do you think is the lesson? Like, because I think it's I mean, I think the carousel is good, to be honest,
Okay.
because it's a good example, and it's going to be, people are going to be like, what? But at the end, maybe it's a little bit weak of an ending because
Mm-hmm.
of there's not no clear lesson.
Lesson.
So this is for the person who I guess is the one you know who's always the good person, right? That's who you're talking
Mm-hmm.
to. And what do they not know?
Yeah. What they don't know is that if they don't pay attention, they will be manipulated. So if they don't take ownership on what is happening or what might happen, they will be manipulated. So that there's a large, it's quite obvious that it's pretty common for this to happen. So what I want them to know is that this will not resolve on itself unless they notice it.
This is what I would do actually.
Okay.
So there's like a common saying, like in the people that are like freelancers and copywriters, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They say, because a lot of clients will tell them like, "Oh, you're our secret weapon," or like you're like the best kept secret, or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the for the freelancer who's like the behind the scene person, it's like, "Ooh, I'm, I'm the best kept secret," right? But that's not
Yeah.
really a compliment, right? Because best kept secret means that nobody knows you.
Nobody knows about you.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're not reaching your potential. So it kind of reminds me of that phrase, right? When somebody says to you, right, "Oh, you're the only one who can do this," or like, you know, "You're the only one who can help me," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's manipulative because it's making you feel special at the same time,
Yeah. Yeah.
but um, it's using that leverage to get what they want, right? Something like that. So then, like someone started saying, like, stop being your uh,
Stop being the best kept secret.
yeah, stop being your client's best kept secret, or something like that, right? And that kind of
Mm-hmm.
caught on.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like similar, right? So I would use the words, because you see how when you say stop being your client's best kept secret, right? I don't have to give other context. You know what I mean, like at
Mm-hmm.
a deeper
Mm-hmm.
level, because first of all, when I mean when I say client's best kept secret, right? It's it says
Yeah.
all of that, like the client saying to them, "Oh, you're our best kept secret," and it looks like, "Oh, making you feel special," and so it says everything that I want to say without having to like spell it out, right? Because I use
Mm-hmm.
the phrase
Mm-hmm.
"best kept secret," something like that. So here, and that is kind of like anchoring without repeating it. It's like, so for example, like I feel like maybe this is what I'm starting to see. This is why this session is good, because my brain is turning.
Mm-hmm.
The way, if I was anchoring, I would use it like this, right? Um, like maybe something like being the best kept secret is not such a good thing, right? Like stop being your client's best kept secret,
Mm-hmm.
or something
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in order to anchor it, but since best kept secret on its own, people already know what that means. I don't even need the first part. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
Something like that. When it's like a really common phrase that people understand, just by using the phrase alone, mixing it with something else you want to say. But anyway, how would it
So
apply
how?
here?
Yeah, 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 that's what I wanted to ask
So
you.
here, what I would do is I would use "you" as the anchor word, right? Like, you are the only one who can fix this.
Mm-hmm.
You are the best at this. I couldn't do it without you. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to say that. Like, that's repetitive. People are mean you're the only one who understands. Like, you can just say you're the only one who understands. It
Okay.
actually it's actually stronger because now it's more broader and it's cleaner, right? So let's take a look. You're the only one who can fix this. You're the best. I couldn't do it without you. Uh, See, this one doesn't really fit for me.
Yeah, it's a little
It,
bit different.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'm gonna take it out.
I'll, okay, this crossed my mind as well, but I was like, nah, let's leave it there.
But what I'll do is I'll separate these two, because I feel like you're the best at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also do I couldn't do this without you.
Okay.
like now that we're talking about it,
Hmm.
it's true, right? Like when I look at the the most successful people that I know, if I think about the most successful people that I know in business, they're all really good at uh, working with people's egos, right? Like
Hmm.
propping them up. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that therefore they know exactly how to push the right buttons to get people to do things for them, and that's why they're
Hmm.
successful, right? Like if they're a boss and they can get a lot of people, employees, to do things for them, and then actually, like a lot of talented people do have a lot of ego. Maybe ego is attached to like you know them trying to prove themselves or something like that. I don't know,
Hmm.
but they're easily manipulated because their button can be easily pushed, right? And that's
Yeah, I mean, they search for validation, and that's what they give
hmm
as well. I mean, I guess.
but anyway, the reason why I was so I showed you an example of how I would make that more clear. The examples.
Hmm.
Now we're writing that out. I pointed out the you. Like, have you reached any conclusion on what the lesson should be? Like in your personal life, how did you deal with it, or how would you deal with it?
Well, if someone is too sweet, it instantly kind of trigger my awareness of if is this person what this person wants from me.
Hmm.
So I'm, let's say, more cautious to notice if I'm just paranoid or there is something to it. So because somebody's when somebody's lifting me up like I'm
Yeah,
better than other,
yeah.
so I don't trust. I learn not to trust that or something. So
I guess
is
see,
this
like
answer to
this
your
is like the
question?
dangerous point of the thinking. This is where people
Mm-hmm.
start to diverge into the overthinking,
Yeah.
and we stay away from the topic because like if you we start talking about that, then now we can start talking about how we shouldn't like chase validations from other people and the
No, we
validation.
won't go there. We won't go there.
Then it
Okay.
it's everything is related. So this happens to me all the time. So now I need to kind of constantly go back, and now I just looked at the carousel again. And the whole point of this
Okay.
carousel is about good people, right? So we're trying to debunk the
Mhm.
myth of good things happen to good people. It sounds like that's the myth we're trying to debunk.
So
Is
um
it?
yeah, yeah. So what you asked me? Can you say one more time
So
if you remember what you asked?
is the myth we're trying to debunk uh good things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that the myth that we're trying to debunk? So what's the truth? Bad
I
things
mean,
happen to good people.
good things happen to good people only um, if they know how to recognize something. So
What's
if they
something?
know, yeah, I didn't know how to put this
Something.
in words.
You can't say something. Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you for your advice. Well
Oh,
done.
do something. What should I do? Do something.
Yeah. Um, I want to be as precise as possible, but
Yeah, just talk it out. Don't whatever you're thinking.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about to see to if they know to read between the lines, or
Hmm.
um, I'm thinking if they are aware of their weaknesses, so they cannot be like
What does that have to do with being good? Because the thing that we're debunking is good, right? Like
yeah.
good things happen to good people, right? So I want to be good people. Um, I want to be good, right? So if I'm being good, then like now debunk that. How can I be good
Yeah.
but not that, right? Do you
Yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yeah, so actually what I meant when I say
Yeah.
good people, it was a phrase behind what was behind that was empathic person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're empathic, it means that you will empathize with someone's pain, or
Mm-hmm.
you will empathize that you can help someone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you are sensitive for those that actually want to exploit.
Yeah. So do you feel like when somebody's like, oh, Jelena, you're the only one who can help me, and then you're like, no, no thanks, bye. How do you feel? Like,
It depends how they say it. But sometimes I have the rush to like need to rush. Like, yeah, find someone else. But it depending how they say it. So, but I like take it easy. Let's see what's the issue is. Let's
mm-hmm.
see what are our options. So I'm kind of cooling things down, and let's sit and see um, what are our options, and if I am in that
Yeah,
equation
yeah.
or not.
So you have ways to deal with those kind of situations.
Yes.
Probably like over time you've developed it.
Yeah. You have different kinds of people. There are people sometimes, few times happen that, hey, Jelena, hey. When I hear that,
Mm-hmm.
my patience, I'm like, oh, what this person wants from me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to run away. So this is the other type of situations. So probably you
But this
didn't
is
ask.
like times when you actually feel bad, like you're being a bad person by not saying yes or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that? Like, what's the solution? What's the lesson?
Um, for me personally, it's so uncomfortable to know that somebody is seeing me as let's say selfish, or like I don't care. So this is something that triggers really uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
feelings. So, but also, so what I needed to do for myself is to learn to tolerate those feelings. So just to stay with that yeah, this is happening, this is real, this is life. Some people will take it like that. I need to accept that. So to talk that through with some close people in my life. So to learn to accept that this is not real, that everybody can like me, so I need to tolerate that. It's like
Okay, so how is that
you
different being good or bad? So now let's really dive into the words. What's the difference there?
um well, we can say good as in this example, like, but just for the sake of the example, good empathic, bad selfish. Or
Or it's is it? But you're saying that it's not that, right? Because you're saying that good things happen to good people, So
Yeah, I mean,
is
it's not like I'm
being
saying that.
selfish? Can you be selfish and good? And can you
Um,
also be empathic and bad?
of course, of course, I don't think that being selfish is necessarily bad. But in
Hmm.
this example, because I chose this wording, good people, good people, so maybe I should name it differently. But I wanted to play with this phrase, good things happen to good people, because this is a common saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a couple of things. Like what's happening is good things happen to good people. And what you're saying is a lot of empaths that are like, oh, you're the only one who can help, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, okay, I'm a good person. So
Hmm.
good things gonna happen to me because I'm good. Right? That's what they're doing, right? And you're saying that
Yeah.
that's not necessarily true. Am I right? Like
Yes.
that being like that is not gonna help you.
Yeah.
Like good things are not gonna happen to you just because you're manipulated by these people, right? As an empath. So the point you're trying to prove is that you're trying to debunk the idea of good things happen to good people. And so the way what I would do, maybe like I should talk about my thought process. Like
Hmm.
immediately where
Please.
my process would go is what's the opposite of that, right? Like now I have to try to debunk that. Okay, does that means like can empath who are easily manipulated by other people,
Hmm.
can they also be bad, right? Or can somebody who's good also be selfish, right? And then like I can go into multiple levels. So what does it mean self? Because like it also feels like how I talk about feels like it also feels like, for example, I didn't fire somebody at my job because I was an empath, and I felt
Hmm.
I didn't want to fire
Hmm.
that person because I feel bad,
Yeah.
but that was actually causing a bigger problem in my company, which was hurting other employees.
Hmm.
You understand me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So am I really? Is that what does that mean? That I'm a good person and you know that
Hmm.
therefore like it's good things are going to happen to me? That's not really, right? So that makes me kind of immediately go to a place where maybe people don't understand the difference between good, bad, selfish, selfless, and even something like strong and weak. Maybe like I wasn't really strong. I mean, I wasn't really good. I was weak at that point,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? What you want to be is you want to be good and you want to be
And strong.
strong, right? You don't want to be good and weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And selfless
So
maybe in a way that you don't care about your employees. That's selfless. Like, do you know what I mean? Because
yeah, there's one quote. I think Rob posted it.
uh-huh.
Uh, it was about that. Let me find it. Hey, Rob.
So that reminded me of a quote that goes, "Don't mistake my weakness for kind. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness." Have you heard of that quote?
Mm-hmm.
Which okay, now I feel like is a good segue to the first quote. Like, good things happen to good people.
Can you just hear this quote?
Okay.
So Rob's quote.
Okay,
Hey, Rob.
Rob.
The real flex is keeping your heart soft and your boundaries strong.
Hmm.
So this is actually what we were searching for.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Would you say that's the lesson for you?
Well, when I look at right now, this actually sounds like a lesson. I mean, this is the point. So good people need to learn um, to still be, empathic, but to have better boundaries. So this is a post about boundaries.
Is that? Do you think that's kind of what the lesson is for you?
I mean, in general, I don't know if this, if we can adapt this to our sandwich, but this is the point, actually. Like, to have boundaries, what comes in, what is not coming in, like a good immune system. So good immune system needs to let good things in and bad things out.
When I look at this carousel, because of the examples that we're using,
Hmm.
um, I mean, let's try it. Okay. So what's the last lesson you said?
um,
The quote from Rob.
I'm reading the quote. Yeah,
Yeah.
the real flex is keeping your heart soft and your boundaries strong.
What was the first part?
The real flex
The real flex.
is.
What does that mean?
I mean, we can go without that. The real flex, because
Maybe
you know
keep
what means the real. When somebody's flexing, you know what this is.
something like that. Okay. Good person saying. Okay, so good things happen to good people. See, that doesn't work. We're probably gonna need something else to anchor it. Good things happen to good people. Maybe I would say something. I would add something like, I want to add. We have to use the word good, right? Um, maybe there's a difference between. Maybe I'll say something like good is not the same. Like being good is not the same as being weak. Something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because then I think, then I think I can highlight this word.
Manipulation happens to good people. Being good is not the same as being weak.
No, forget this. Forget this one for now.
Oh, okay.
Being good is not the same as being weak. Keep your heart soft and your bonds really strong. You know how I would set this up now? So,
Hmm.
because we start with good things happen to good people, right? And here, being good is not the same as being weak. So, what I'm doing is I'm debunking the myth But you see how
Mm-hmm.
like it's the truth is not the opposite of the myth. The truth is actually a little bit nuanced, meaning I'm redefining the word good, right? Like what I'm saying here at this point, people think that good means saying yes to all these things, right?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe I'll say something like that here, right? Like we think being good is saying yes to. Here we don't need the quote. You're the only one who can fix this. You're the best at this. Well, let's go with it for now. We'll come back. Um, I guess this can even work. The truth is, I guess this really makes more sense here. The truth is, being good is not the same as being weak.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can just end right there without this. Let's see, did that work?
Okay.
Good things happen to good people. We think being good is saying yes to. You're the only one who can fix this. You're the best that I can do without you. You're the only one who understands. The truth is, being good is not the same as being weak. Keep your heart soft and your boundaries strong. I mean, this could work, but I feel like it's missing something. And I think it's because, like, I'm highlighting the word you
Mm-hmm.
because we were going somewhere with that, and then that doesn't make sense right now. No. Because, like, that's kind of like there could be a different lesson there, too. Sometimes when those kind of phrases, they're more of a seeking validation than anything else, right? Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not like maybe it's not like you know guilt. It's not really out of guilt, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I feel sorry for that dog, or you know what I mean. It's really out of ego. It's really out of you're the only one who can do this, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that I've now that's a different carousel, you see.
Yeah. You want we are okay. I see. So what I understood is that in one option that we are making right now is that so people that are naive,
Mm-hmm,
that are only naive. So this is
mm-hmm,
and empathic, so they can be easily tricked,
mm-hmm,
and they learn to say yes to these things.
mm-hmm.
And on the opposite side is people that actually are craving for
Yeah,
these
exactly.
relations.
So I guess you would have to come up with two different examples.
Hmm. But I think it's much harder to make a metroid sandwich for the second one because
No, because the one we made is kind of the second one, right? Because then good things happen
what?
to good people. We think being good is saying yes to, you're the only one who can fix blah 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 blah. But the truth is, you're just doing it for you. You know what I mean? So it's actually much
Okay.
easier, right? Because we set it up to be like that. Do you understand what I mean?
How is it so easy for you? I
Because it's like
mean,
we've anchored the word you, right? So when we
yeah, we are good.
Well, but the thing is, because we anchor the word you already, you is already kind of like a narcissistic word, right? Like it's all
Hmm.
about you, right? So it's easy. That's like an easy setup. But if we were to go with this one, right, being weak is not the same as being weak. Like,
Okay, just one more thing. If, for example, we choose the other way, you're doing this for you. So this is kind of a really good, you know, good point.
mhm.
What would be that?
But you see,
What
this is
would
what
be
I
the
mean.
ending?
I just feel like when people are talking about lessons in life, they're not being specific enough. Everyone's being so general about boundaries, and but then when you dig into the boundaries, right? When you dig into why we have hard time drawing boundaries, and when you dig into the word good or bad, right? When you actually dig into these topics, there are more micro lessons within it. And these micro lessons is how we know from situation to
Hmm.
situation, in this situation I should do this versus in this situation I should do that, like that. And those are the real lessons, I think. And the only people that knows those lessons are the ones who's been through it. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking a lesson
Okay.
which is kind of broad, which is about boundaries, right? And then I'm breaking down the specifics of it. One reason why we might have hard time breaking boundaries, like from your example that you're giving, and this is like I'm making this shit up, right? Because you gave me the example of you're the only one who can do this. That makes me feel good when I hear that. Why does it make me feel good? It makes me feel like when a client comes to me and says, "Son, you're our secret weapon. You're our, you're like the world's best kept secret in marketing or whatever it is." It makes me feel good, right? And it makes me work harder. It makes me, you know. So
Hmm.
that's where that came from. So I know that for me, the lesson would be from my own experience. Like I have to, I guess, like maybe I learned this just repetitively. Is that I learned to ignore praises. So when somebody praises me, it
Hmm.
doesn't really make me happy. Like somebody will come to me and be like, "Son, design's so good." I'll be like,
But do
"Yeah,
you
I know."
ignore, like, okay? Do you, let me ask you, do you ignore like every praise or some praises?
You know what? That's a good question. I have to be extra careful about the praises that makes me feel good.
Hmm.
And the Because, like, for example, like when somebody praises me on my design, that never makes me feel good because, like, I know why my design is good because I've been doing it for over 20 years. Like, it's not the thing that's gonna be like, "Ooh, thank you," you know what I mean?
Okay.
But then if
Okay.
somebody praises me on something that I thought I was bad at, right,
Hmm.
that's gonna make me feel better, right? So those are the moments that I have to watch out.
Do you have an example?
I guess like when I first started like doing this speaking and people come
Hmm.
to me, like I think this is for me the process. When I first started speaking and people come afterwards and like ask me all these questions and well, I'm like, ooh, like me, like flatter, right? And then
Hmm.
because I thought maybe the talk was not that good or something like that, right?
Okay.
So wow, and then but then it happens again. It's like ooh, like those are the moments I have to watch because like then I can let it get out of my head. But then after a while, you do it for a while, and then it keeps happening over and over. I think that's where like you start to build real confidence.
Hmm.
Like that in that beginning stage is like I think where for me it's like that's the danger of arrogance starting to creep in, and I think that has to kind of happen first before you get into real confidence. Like I think if you're really confident, no matter how much people praise you or criticize you, it doesn't really affect you because you're confident in
Okay.
you
What's
know
the
you,
moment when you actually trusted? So people were saying, "Hey, son, you're speech was so good, thank you, and you're like, yeah. And do you remember the moment when you're like, thank you, I'm good?
Maybe it happens over time.
Hmm.
I don't know. It wasn't like just one moment. It was like
Okay.
a little less
Would
comfortable,
you,
a little less. It's more, a little more comfortable, a little more comfortable.
another question, um would you right now, if you have like, I guess that even now, if you feel comfortable in speaking, still sometimes you are not satisfied with how you performed. So when
Yeah,
you
but
were
here's the
not
thing, right? I think it's not about whether you're 100% satisfied or not satisfied. It's more about how you're going to deal with it. Because I think this is completely off topic, obviously, but I think that for me, I've never once in my life achieved 100% satisfaction. So it's less about being 100% satisfied or not satisfied. It's more about being okay with not being 100% satisfied. Like every post that I do, I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
wish I should have said this, or I wish I can change this, right? Like every time I do a talk, I'm like, oh, I should have said this, I missed this, or every single time I put something out, that happens. Every time I launch a website, it's like, oh, I should have done this. So nothing is ever perfect when it goes down. The question is more like, are you okay with that, right? So back then, if I'm doing a talk and I miss something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's the end of the world. I missed this. I can't believe I
Mhm.
totally forgot
Mhm.
about this, right? But you do that talk 10 more times and you miss something every single one of them. Like after a while, you're like, okay, I'll get it next time. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
So did it happen because you overall became um more like, self-accepting, that
Yeah.
was this like part of your
It's like,
personal work, or in every aspect, firstly you have
here's what I
like,
think, right? I think over time, whatever you want to change about yourself, right? Let's say you want to become more stoic, or you want to become more um, proactive. You want to become more outgoing. Whatever you like, you want to become more fit. Whatever it is, right? I think the beginning part is the most important because once you start doing it and you start to see evidence of it in the cycle, by then you're already on your way. That you don't even have to, I don't even have to prove to you anything anymore. It's just the beginning cycle of getting you started is the hardest, right? So I see a lot of people out there going like, don't be a perfectionist, just put out whatever, like what I say, start messy, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is, uh, a lot of people that are saying that are not actually doing it themselves, meaning doing it messy, right? They want
Yeah.
everything to be perfect or whatever it is, right? So, but here's the thing, right? If they can just get over that part and they can just start 3 months into it, you've already become so comfortable with being messy that you don't even realize it.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I mean? Like it's not like it, that's and from that point on, it's not like from that point on you have to constantly work at it because I think once you've seen enough evidence of something, proof of something, I think you're so confident that it's gonna work that
Mhm.
you don't need that assurance anymore or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So no matter what it is, that like it's that in the beginning, just sheer repetition of just forcing yourself to do it is so important. Like if you hate elevators, like if you have a fear of elevators, that sheer effort of like Jordan Peterson says, standing in front of that elevator every single day and then getting a little bit comfortable. Now looking inside the elevator and then get a little comfortable, then go inside the elevator. Like keep doing it through repetition over and over until you get over your claustrophobic, until you're like fear of elevators. It's so important.
Mm.
What are you thinking about now?
I'm thinking about a lady that I actually went in an elevator and she was scared of elevator.
And she went it.
So
Obviously, she's not that
yeah,
scared.
yeah, she was hoping that I'm going more like
She didn't want to be trapped by herself or something.
yeah, she we were going along, but I needed to go out and didn't know that she was scared of elevators. And she was like, "Yeah, how are you? It's that soon, okay?" And I saw like, "Okay, do you want me to accompany you till you to your stair, your
Hmm.
how do you say level?" And she's like, "No, no, no, no." And I was like, "Okay, you have another moment to decide if you want. It's not a problem. Just you need to say it." She's like, "Well, okay, please go with me." So we went together.
Oh, poor lady.
Yes, so I accompanied her to her level and then got back. Yeah.
Going
Anyway.
back to this carousel. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's so you see how like the importance of reflecting and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, and then when you actually write it, it gets a little bit more specific. So if we were talking about the lesson of good things happen to good people, well, there's a difference between good and being weak, right? That and then
Mm-hmm.
the other lesson is sometimes we think that we're good, like meaning we're empaths, but we might be doing it out of our ego. Like, and I think the example that we came up with, like, hey, you're the only one that can do this, you, that's like a good example
Yeah.
that can lead to a myth true sandwich about, um, see, like good things happen to good people. We think being good is saying yes to, you're the only one who can fix this, you're the best at this, I couldn't do it without you, you're the only one who understands. The truth is, here maybe it's something like, um, the truth is, um, you might be doing those things because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then something like, you know, like I guess now I need to come up with
Yes. Now the thought process. What is happening now? So this is the
I'm trying to see, okay, because I
hardest
we're talking
thing.
about the word good here, right? Good things and good people. So now I need to use anchor that like the word good, right? But it can be
Okay.
like good is not
Oh.
same as, um like you might be doing it. Wait, here maybe I'll do something like this. You're the only one who understands this. The truth is, you're doing you are doing it for your validation. But it works better because I highlighted the word you. You're the only one. You are the best.
Mm-hmm.
See, well, the truth is, you are doing it for your validation. And then maybe here I'll say something um, like maybe like this. Good might like in person, this is what I would say. Like, make sure good doesn't mean selfish or something like that. Or make sure you're not being good for
Mm-hmm.
selfish reasons or something like that, right? Good things happen to good people. We think being good is you are the only one. You're the best. Do without you. Truth is, you are doing it for your.
Selfish reasons.
Yeah, something like that, right? That
Mm-hmm.
works, right? And then the second one was it, it was more about what would you call it? Yeah, being good. So that then we need a better example. So you need to come up with a different universal truth. Like I can come up with a personal example, right? I can like the one I gave you. I can
Mm-hmm.
say I didn't fire this guy because I was being good, but the rest of my employees were suffering because they had to do extra work for because of this guy or something like that. So I wasn't being good. I was being weak,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you can talk about like if you're being good, just like it, if you're actually hurting yourself, if you are like hurting yourself in order to be good, that means you're not doing it because you're a good person. You're doing it because I don't know of some trauma response or something.
Well, yeah. Could that be the lesson? This doesn't mean that you're doing this because you're good. This is your trauma
Yeah,
response.
maybe that. I mean, like I guess you can try to come up with like that's what I do in my life is I have to come up with these little tricks that can trick my brain. Even, and sometimes it's not that they're not 100% true. Right? For example, when I was like learning how to drive, my driving instructor said, when you turn left, it's okay if
Mm-hmm.
your left tire hits the line on the left, but
Okay.
it's not okay if your right tire hits the right. So like I always turn a little bit closer to the left. You know what I mean? Then
Mm-hmm.
I need to. But that's a little trick that I was taught right when I was young. So in this case, the same thing can happen. The trick is this, right? Like the trick that I can tell myself is whenever I'm being good, whenever I'm doing being selfless and doing something for somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm doing something, even though doing that thing actually hurts me, or like that means I might be doing it. It might be a trauma response or something. It might not actually be me being good or something like that, right? I mean, that can be one. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that will work, but there's probably other ones too. Like for example, um, I think if you're doing somebody a favor, and then right after you said yes, you regret it. That's probably a good sign
Mm-hmm.
that you know you're not.
Okay.
That's a probably a good sign that you're breaking your boundaries or something like that.
Oh, when somebody you agreed to meet someone
Hmm.
and they cancel and you're like, "Oh, yes," because they canceled. So this means
Yeah,
that you didn't want to
yeah,
see them in the first place.
yeah. So you can come up with things like that.
Can we make that?
No, because I mean, yes, we can. What? Okay, what is it first? Tell me. Here's the
So
thing,
this.
right? Like the
Mhm.
more you do this, more you're gonna realize that everything is nuance, right? So don't get me wrong. When I post something and then people are like disagreeing with me, like, "Son, that's not necessarily true." Blah 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 blah. Blah. Like those are usually all things that I've also thought of first. So
Mhm.
what ends up happening is a lot of the almost every carousel that I put out, I can debunk them myself.
Mhm.
So it's I think it's really healthy to understand that even you can debunk your own posts, right?
Yeah.
So like what right when you say that, right? It's important that we don't get too excited, right? Because like, okay, so for example, if I go to a meeting and this person doesn't show up, I'm like, oh yes, thank God that person didn't show up, right? Right. That's a pretty. That means it's a sign that like that was crossing my boundaries or something like that. But there's also been in my life plenty of times where I went to a meeting that I didn't want to go in, and it turned out to be an amazing opportunity, or it turned out to be amazing.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I mean? The same meeting that I would have been like, yes, that person didn't show up, right? So I also know that there's another side to that story as well. Do you know what I mean? So until I've like dug it in fully, I don't like most of my carousel are things that I've already thought about so many times that I've probably seen it from all different angles already. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
But this topic right now we're talking about, I feel like I haven't really seen it from all different angles yet.
Okay.
And it probably makes sense because I'm not really good at drawing boundaries. That's why I need other
So
people to draw boundaries for me.
okay.
And you
So
see how
what?
like it could be different. Answer could be different too, right? Like what I found in my life is that the best way for me is to actually find somebody who will draw that boundary for me rather than me
Mhm.
trying to draw my own boundary because I'm so bad at drawing boundaries. And if I left it up to me,
Why do you think that you're bad at that?
but I think like the reason why I'm bad at drawing boundaries is not the same reason why I think most people are.
Why do you think you're bad at that?
I think I'm bad at drawing boundaries because I have no respect for boundaries. Like, and
What that means?
not just like with other people. I'm just meaning like in general. Like, um, for example, if somebody says like, "Son, you have, um, you know, 2 hours to finish this," right? Like, I don't care.
Okay.
Like, if it takes me 6 hours, it takes me 6 hours. I don't care about your stupid 2 hour boundaries you set on me. You know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I mean? And that's like really the reason why I'm bad at boundaries.
So it means that you would come to that meeting without anything done and be comfortable there sitting like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, something like that too. Yeah. I mean,
Even
that's not
though,
what I was saying. The example I was giving is more like if somebody says this website has to be done in 1 month, I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure. It's gonna take as long as it's gonna take.
but you promised to do it in 1 month.
I guess if I promise to do it in 1 month, I'll do it. Right? But I don't like it.
Okay, but this is not, you know, if you like it or not, it's not about boundaries. But if you do it or not, when you
So that's why in
said,
those cases, other people have to set that boundary for me.
mhm,
Do you know what I mean?
so you would kind of procrastinate if you don't have boundaries.
Hmm.
Okay. Mm,
But I
yeah, but
also think that that's one of those things too, where if you do it long enough, probably if I do it long enough with evidence, like with enough evidence, I think it'll prove. And this is why I think just putting out content is so beneficial for everyone, because I feel like when you're putting out a lot of content and you're interacting with just mass scale of people, right? All different kinds of
Mm-hmm.
people from all over the world. What ends up happening is you become more uh, in tune with reality, because I feel like we all live in our heads where we think that our version of reality is the real reality, right? But when you're
Yeah.
putting out so many content and you're talking to so many people, you start to kind of realize, okay, here is reality. There's the average, how most people are, and then you can kind of start to gauge, right? Like how where do I fit in now?
I see. Okay. Can we go back to that mid-truth sandwich and just to see what is the ending outcome?
Which one? This one? So I
Yes.
guess the second version would be something like, so we need to come up with a better example here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So good things happen to good people. I think being good is same. Being good is same as, and then we have to give some example. The truth is, being good is not the same as being weak.
Mm,
So give like an example would be like, you know,
when somebody cancel a meeting and you are happy for it.
no. I mean that feels like you're jumping a couple of steps. I let's dial
Okay.
it back and say like
Okay.
when you say yes to a meeting that you don't want to go to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Like
Or
saying
stay
yes to something you don't do.
stay overtime even though you scheduled something after. Do you understand what I wanted to
Yeah.
say?
I mean, I guess like we would have to come up with, maybe you can ask ChatGPT. But so we would have to come up with some example. The reason why I don't want to do the overtime is, okay, then if you want to go that specific, because we don't have to do it like this,
Mm-hmm.
but um like always doing other people's work, or always picking up after everyone, right? But I don't know. I feel like we need better examples, because it has to be.
ChatGPT is saying over apologizing. No, making excuses. No.
No, it's more like saying yes to something. Um, it has to be more specific. That's like saying yes to, like doing something because you feel bad or something like that. Feel because you feel guilty, even though you know that thing is hurting me or hurting others. Do you understand
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? A good example is like, um, if a child just like, if the child every time you, um, if every time the child wants the iPad, you give them an iPad. Like, is
Yeah.
that a good parent?
No. So,
Right? So the
s-
the truth is, there's a difference between being good and being weak.
mm,
You know
ChatGPT
what I
is
would do?
giving.
I
Mhm.
would come up with two examples. So I came up with one, right? When a parent, like every time your child asks for an iPad and you give them an iPad, is that a good parent? So that's one example. And another
Mm-hmm.
example might be something like, um, something you said when you say yes to a party that you don't want to go to because you feel bad, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the same as being. So like now I give two examples, right? Like you most people think that being good is saying yes to saying yes to something that I feel like I need a better example than that.
So you, I'm, I don't find a problem in when if you're going to a party you don't want to go to. You go to a party because
I know, but
you
there. Okay, yeah, I guess okay. So like, but is that would most
you're
people look at that
lending
as, oh,
money.
what a good person? Yeah,
You're lending money even though you
yeah,
don't
something like that. If
need that
let's say
for rent.
you yeah, you're lending money to your friend even though you can't afford to, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
does that make you a good person? And then you can like counteract that with like if a parent, if every time your child asks for an iPad, you give them an iPad, does that make you a good person? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can say being good is not the same as being weak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's try that, see if that works.
Mm-hmm.
So good things happen to good people. Um, let's say, so if you lend money to a friend, even though you can't afford to, does that make you a good person? Um, if you give your child an iPad every time they ask, does that make you a good person? Truth is, yeah, I guess that can work.
Good things happen to good people. Mm,
Okay, how about this? So, are you here? Are you there?
yes. Yes.
Have you heard good things happen to good people? But let me ask you: if you lend money to a friend, even though you can't afford to, does that make you a good person? If you give your child an iPad every time they ask, does that make you a good person? The truth is, being good is not the same as being weak. Keep your heart soft and your boundaries strong. Eh,
I
no,
like it.
no good.
I like it.
You like it? Okay, the
Yes.
first one is
So just one more thing in the this one, how to say is the title good or not?
I mean, you know what would be a good title? Good things don't happen to good people
Why did you choose that?
because it's because like the obvious one is good things happen to good people, right?
Okay.
So if I say good things don't happen to good people are gonna be like, huh? What? It
Hmm.
raises more curiosity. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so this hook is the opposite of myth.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Another,
Okay.
if I really wanna,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
really,
would do?
really, really wanna do
If I
it.
really want to be controversial, um,
Oh,
what I would do is something like "fuck kindness,"
okay.
and something like
A
um,
little less controversial. How would that sound if we have that
that this is the extreme
in
end of
our
the
toolbox?
this is the extreme end, but it would be something like this.
Hmm. If you wanna, you have option.
Oh,
Uh,
there we go.
okay.
I would do something like this.
Hmm. And how did you find that picture?
I just googled Gary V kindness.
Okay. And
Okay,
how
let's
did
see if that
you?
works. Fuck kindness. Good things happen to good people. But let me ask you this: if you let money play the world, I mean, but you get it, right? Like this is like it's like shock value. It's gonna get people to scroll, right?
Hmm.
But you know, we're the message is still good at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you one thing.
Mm-hmm,
So when you find that on your when you googled it, you needed
mm-hmm.
to download it, download the picture, right?
Oh yeah. So you just here. Um, so if I do Gary V kindness, I go to images. Like it was this one. So I just
I
right
don't
click.
see.
Uh,
I mean, I see five faces of me right now.
five paces.
Yeah, it was you shared the screen, Riverside screen.
So if I go to like Gary V kindness,
Yeah,
and this is
I
the
see
image,
now.
I'll just
Okay.
right click and do copy image. Once you do copy image, you can just paste it in Figma
Oh,
whenever you want.
that's
Then I
nice.
can just go to Figma and just go paste. You see, Control
Okay.
C, Control V, or Apple
Okay.
Command C, Command V.
Awesome. Okay. So,
Hmm. Do you want to do another
uh,
one?
yeah, but I just didn't finish this one. I have a few more things just to ask you.
Okay, ask me. Good.
Can you come back to the screen, Figma? Mm, so this is like controversial
I would
hook.
probably
What
for
else?
this one I would do this.
Hmm.
Okay, say that
Hmm.
again.
So I wanted to ask you. So now we have two different carousels. I can choose one or the other.
Hmm.
Um, my question is so about hook. What options are there? How to find a hook?
For this
How to
one,
come up with a hook?
good things
Yes.
happen to good people. I mean, this one actually, the if I think when you do the hook, you have to really, really be aware of your audience
Mm-hmm.
because, like, for my audience, I probably wouldn't do this.
You wouldn't.
Yeah,
Why?
like I feel like this is more for like the mainstream audience. Like for my audience,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're kind of smart. So for my audience, what I would do is like, um, I'll do something like good versus weak or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like just saying that in alone, people will also already kind of I think jump to somewhat of a conclusion of what this might mean. Good. They might kind of already kind of been thinking about like, okay, I think I know what Son's gonna say. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's still curious enough. Like they want to see how I got there. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's kind of like my thought process. But if I was doing for just a general audience, I'll probably do something like this or this. This is probably a good one.
Okay. So would you mark some of those words with black? Like,
Yeah, let's see what I can do here. Good things don't. Maybe I'll center this. For some reason, it's for this one. It's easier to read when you do this. Maybe because of the
mm-hmm.
word "don't." So maybe
Okay.
here, like I would do exactly the same thing you did. Good things don't happen to good people. Also, because this is title, I would
Mm-hmm.
capitalize. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You see, now it's easier to read, right? Good things don't happen
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that in the last slide you always have. Um, I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Should I have some kind of sentence? I was putting makes sense and question mark. So I mean, right now maybe I don't have any more slides, but should I do it without that when I post it or not?
The last slide. I think it should. You need some sort of a last slide, some sort of a call to action. So that for that one,
Yeah.
so this is already 10 slides. Yeah, you can get rid of some of these slides. I think, like for here, for example, this one can be gone. But anyway,
But we need something. We
because
need
this is
some
already 10
intro.
slides here. One, two, three, four,
Yeah.
five, six, seven. So you're gonna have to shrink it by one if you want to have a. But for the call to action, yeah, think about like what do you want? What do you want? Um, what do you want your audience to do? Right. For sometimes, like for example, if I want them to register for a free masterclass, I'll be like, go do that. Right. If I want them to follow me, I'll say
Hmm.
go follow me. If I want them to share it, I'll say share it. But you always need, or if I want them to subscribe to my newsletter, I'll say go subscribe to my newsletter. So you need some sort of a call to action that says, hey, do this.
Okay. So I'm not calling anybody for any action right now because I don't know
Why not?
what
My question to you would be, why not?
I don't have newsletter. I don't
Why don't you just say for now, just follow me? Like if you want
okay.
more like this, just follow me.
Okay.
It's, like just saying that alone in the last slide alone versus not doing it. There's
Hmm.
actually a big difference between how many followers you're gonna get.
Really?
Yeah, that's why people do CTAs, call to actions. You'll be surprised.
Okay, so so the only thing that I could do is for them to say to them, follow me if you wanna
Yeah.
see more of this.
Hmm.
So this is what I should write. If you wanna,
For now.
okay, and I should have my picture.
Yeah, if you want.
Okay.
You should also do videos too, not just carousels.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like for me, when I browse like accounts that are just carousels
Mm-hmm.
versus when I see the video of them, like it's a completely different feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I'll think about it. I mean, for now, I'm interested in carousels, so I'll just go with what is functioning for now. But
Okay.
anyway,
All right.
this
What do you want
is
to do
this
next?
is what I have so far.
This was good. I think
Okay.
you had a good one.
Yeah. Which one would you prefer to choose? I like second one a lot. Good versus weak. I mean, both of them.
Yeah, I guess I like this one better too. Yeah. I mean, it I like this better because it's like something that I've experienced. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Okay. Yeah. Now we come to the next one.
Damn. Now we another one. This is why setting boundaries is hard. More about boundaries. I had a perfectly normal childhood, but imagine a young girl that is yelled at regularly. For her, this becomes normal. Later, it will be normal for her friend to yell at her, for her partner to yell at her, for her boss to yell at her. So she would say, I had a perfectly normal childhood. We can
So
agree that.
this is okay.
Uh-huh. We can agree
This is
that.
where things I have two options as well because I'm kind of confused. So
Oh, here?
yeah, but I'm not sure. Let's read it out and then we will see.
Okay. What she doesn't know, she enables this behavior. She couldn't stop what happened in the past, but now she is part of the problem and a solution. Okay, you want to explain? You want to explain how you reached this? So this is like she would still say, I had a perfectly normal childhood. We can agree that being yelled at is far from perfectly normal, but only if you distance yourself, you can be aware of this change. Okay, let's talk through
Yeah,
what
these
you're
two
trying to
last
say. What are you
slides.
trying to say?
Yeah. My starting point was that actually um, I was thinking and I was talking with some friend about many examples when people are just saying, yeah, everything was normal in mine. Like, what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong? I mean, I had everything in my childhood that I needed.
Hmm.
So, but then when you kind of dig deeper, you see that, for example, yelling or um, arguments, physical fights, or so that was present, and that also affected affected them. So, but they are not aware of it because this was so normal for them. Um, my metaphor that I had when I started to create that was, does the fish know that water is wet?
Hmm.
So, no, because they are too much into water, so they don't know the water is wet.
Hmm.
This is why they don't know that what is happening.
Is that really true? Like that those people, like it becomes the norm, like if you're always yelled at, like as an adult, are they also living in that environment?
Can you repeat?
Like just because they were yelled at as a child doesn't mean they're getting yelled at as an adult, right?
Oh, of course. The thing is, if it's common for them to be yelled at,
Hmm.
they wouldn't surprise if someone else yell at them. I mean, this is everything we say is just, you know, just one point of it for some cases, but for some other cases, you have people that would say, my mom had the right to yell at me, but nobody else. So this is also what can happen. Um, the point is that for one idea is that if you get used to something, you will not be surprised by that in the future.
Okay.
So if a person is yelled at
So how does
in
that play out as an adult?
it's normal if a person is working, I don't know, if a person has a job and they are having a boss
Hmm.
that screams at
Always yell at them.
employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal. They're stressing out. They when they see that they got an email from their boss, they kind of have anxious rush. But this is it. They don't change the job. They don't search for another job. This is how things are. They would say like, yeah, this is the real world. This is the real world. You don't have like unicorns so that you can have like perfect job. Like in every job it's the same thing. So this is how probably many of them um, would feel
And who are
that
you
this is.
speaking to then?
Sorry,
Who are you speaking to?
I'm speaking. You mean do I have a specific person on my mind?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
yeah, or a kind of person.
yeah. I have. So um, I mean, these are people that I had on my mind specifically. I was thinking about some women that um, I perceive as ladies that are searching for help, but actually they are not searching for help. So they're doing some, I don't know, retreats, some um, spiritual, I don't know, gatherings or something. So they kind of wanna help themselves, but actually they're not doing it. So this was my what I was having on
What
my
what
mind.
what should they be doing?
They what they are doing is um how to say it, they're what they should do, they should see themselves as part of the problem, not because it looks like they build identity over person with some kind of healing process. We talked about that before. So they kind of blame other people. They blame their childhood, or they blame the environment, or they blame themselves for not being, I don't know, good enough or something. But the point is, instead of blaming themselves, to actually blaming whoever, to actually see their subconscious patterns as part of the problem. So now they're not aware. of decisions they are making that are contributing to their dissatisfaction. So my advice for them is that they need to see their patterns, to search for patterns, so that they can be aware of how they are contributing this.
It's too broad of excuse me. It's too broad of a topic, right? Don't
Yeah.
you think?
So how can I specify if this is too broad?
What's something specific? Um, so the in the example that you would give, like what's a common? What do you think is like a common behavior that somebody like that? Mm,
What do you mean? Common behavior would be like, if I imagine like this person at work,
mhm.
common behavior is to,
Specific is always better.
yeah.
You know, the
If,
thing is like, yeah. Go ahead.
so if I imagine this person at work, um, she would be afraid of her boss, of how people would see her, and so
Like
it,
anxiety, like.
yes, she will be anxious about that, or anxious about, yeah, anxious about,
And you think though that these people think that being anxious is normal?
yeah. I mean, maybe they would complain, but they would stay there. You have people that are anxious
Hmm.
and they stay at the same place for 10 years.
And they think it is normal.
Maybe they don't say that it's normal, but probably part of them think they can't, it cannot be better than that. Everywhere is the same.
And these are the same people that are like seeking spirituality and therapy and all of that, the
Yeah, I
self-help
mean,
stuff.
yeah, so from my experience about
Hmm.
some people that I kind of had contact with, personal contact. So it looks like they are more interested in these practices than in really like sitting and diving deeper into root causes.
And usually those are the people that are like at work, stressed, anxious, but they think that's just normal.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about all people or something.
Hmm.
I'm just talking about these specific
Hmm.
case.
There's a lot of them. Like I would say, if I go to Gabby Bernstein's like event,
Hmm.
like pretty much everyone there was gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Every single person there is dealing with some sort of anxiety, some sort of
When I
chronic
talked
illness. Yeah.
when I talked to one person,
Hmm.
and this person shared with me that she knows like five, six women in her environment that
Hmm.
are all single, all are having the same issues.
Hmm.
They have, I don't know, from 35 to 50 years or something. Um, and are not they have never been to therapy, but they've been to these, I don't know, Reiki, some spiritual courses, And
Hmm.
when she confronted them, like, why don't you seek for like real help, they would say, no, I don't have money for that. So they feel accepted in these environments because they're not being judged, but they're not fixing their problem.
Hmm.
So it looks like they're definitely getting some contact, probably, uh, and they're uncomfortable, they're anxious in like new environment when they're in like regularly social environments, like not that spiritual one. um
I mean, I don't know if those two things are related. I think it's a, I think they're just a coincidence.
okay,
Because I think,
this reminded
go
me
ahead.
when you said that that event from Gabby Bernstein, that
Yeah, I think what's happening is,
mhm,
um, those type of message attracts people that, um, it's really attractive for people that don't actually want to face the work, right?
mhm,
Because they say, oh, you just trust the universe will take care of it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But the thing is, what ends up happening is, so but I don't think that's the reason why. But at the same time, what you're saying is the reason why they have those is because probably they grew up in an environment where something was normal.
yeah,
And maybe, for example, like it can be as simple as, if you grew up in an environment where you were never taken serious, like as a girl you were never taken
mhm,
seriously, meaning, oh, it's like, oh, you're gonna go to college, oh, how cute.
yeah,
Right. For example, right, like, or like, oh, you're studying a business, oh, you're studying a little blog, oh, that's cute. Your
right,
hobby. Then what happens is, like, that becomes the norm to you,
yeah,
where other people at your work or whatever can treat you like that. And that, but then maybe you don't feel good. And yeah, something like that.
so yeah, um I agree. So when you said like they don't want to do the work, so
Hmm.
maybe this is the thing. They want a easy way out. So I'll be there. I'll be
Yeah, there's so
in
many lessons here,
comfortable. Hmm.
because obviously we understand the problem. So what's there's so many lessons. Like, one is, like, I think one good one is to let them know that what you're experiencing day to day, right? Like, if you're experiencing anxiety day to day, like, you think that person who thinks that that's normal is experiencing anxiety.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Like, the person who goes to work and have
Hmm.
anxiety,
Okay.
like, if that's the norm, if if she believes that that's the norm,
Hmm.
like that's normal, why would she have anxiety? It's normal. Do you know what I mean? Or do they have anxiety and then they get used to the anxiety, thinking the anxiety is normal?
I don't necessarily think that
I don't
they
know.
would
Do I
say
feel
that.
anxiety?
I hear you, but sometimes I lose some parts of the sentence. I don't know if it's the internet or something.
Oh, really? I hear everything that you're saying, so I think it's the internet.
Okay. Well, that's good news. Um, so um, I don't think that they probably have opinion about anxiety, but in the end, what I think that if these persons were invalidated for a long period of time, they think, they assume, so they expect these kind of relationships in their life. They don't seek for anything else because this is their norm. These kind of intensive relationships are the norm. So if someone yells at you and you feel incompetent, and you, maybe you are enabling it because part of you even thinks that they are right.
Mm-mm.
So um so I think that
I
the
guess the
point,
thing is like, how many people do you think are really going through that though? Like at that extreme versus like somebody who's just living with anxiety. Because I think there are a lot of people who are living with that anxiety, like going to work or in their relationship or something like that.
okay,
But I don't think they're necessarily getting yelled at. Do you understand what I mean?
okay.
Like a
Mm,
lot of it, I feel like has nothing to do with like even like really like outright abuse.
okay. Well, I wanted to kind of exaggerate a little bit because somebody told me
Hmm.
that this is good thing to do.
Who told you that? No, no. I mean, like, yes, when it comes to writing it,
Yeah.
we will. But for now, we're still kind of
Okay.
talking through the idea, right?
Um, well, the thing is, um, I had more in my mind like if we imagine that a person was like in environment where it was normal to raise your voice, didn't mean somebody needs to yell at you, but somebody is yelling. So just yelling itself is making a reaction on our body. So on our nervous system. So every voice that is sudden and intensive, so you kind of scare a little bit.
Hmm.
So I had that in my mind. So I imagine that if this was everyday thing when parents are arguing about if they are going to spend money on this or that, if they, I don't know, if child ask, can I don't know, do that? No, you cannot, or something. So
Hmm.
this is intensive.
Hmm.
So if this repeats long enough, it will be normal for a person to experience that. So it doesn't mean that somebody needs to exclusively yell at them, but the whole like ups and downs are normal. So I had on my mind that later in life, um, they're also kind of choosing or enabling this environment. They will not, if they see, if they have, I don't know, friend that is raising their voice and they're always dramatic, like this, like that, so they will
Hmm.
not notice like, oh, how do I feel about this? So this is a little bit too much for me to listen like every second day. They will not notice that. They will just stay there. And
So what should
so
they do?
so what should they do? They should go inside. So to practice to just stay a little bit with how they feel about this situation. So just that, because probably some part of them is sometimes feeling anxious when they need to see this friend, or they don't want to do it but they promised and they will go, or they don't want to call that friend but eventually they do, or they kind of don't reply on messages to them instantly. They kind of wait a little bit. They answer after a few hours. So these small clues are some signals that we are not that we are feeling also some other emotions as well. So slowly, if we notice that, we can build this slowly build this awareness of what is happening with us when we are in different environment.
What about at work?
What about at work? I mean,
Like, what would be an example of those kind of things that you notice?
um the same thing. You have different colleagues. You have colleagues that are always gossiping and that are uh it's not just gossiping, it's when they are uh when you're putting other people down. You have colleagues that are putting other people down, and you have colleagues that are like chill, relax. They go, I don't know, for hitchhiking, or they want to show you what song they heard. um, but you don't see the difference, or you are more attracted to these like loud voices because this is your reality. So you don't see the difference how you feel with one and the other. Or let me think. uh, 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 um,
What about like your boss? Because like if there's nothing you can't just quit your job, right?
yeah, so I mean, you would definitely have this person would definitely have problem with authority, because if mood changes of boss if boss changes mood, uh boss's mood changes. How do I say it?
We get it.
Okay, so uh then this person will become observant, like, oh, what is happening? Is this because I didn't do the work well? So then they would kind of want to pick up coffee, like, hey, what coffee do you want, so to
Mhm.
see if everything is fine. Or if they say, come to the office at 12, they're, oh my god, why is they calling me to the office? It's probably because something is bad or something like that. So they would not assume that they just want to share something with them. They would assume that it's for some bad reason. um, or I mean, is this helpful at all?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I was just curious.
Okay.
That, by the way, those should be your content. Everything that you just said now should be like, you know, like when you were talking about like how when when somebody when you have to go see this friend
Okay.
and you just kind of have this feeling like, I don't, you're dreading it, you don't want to go or something like that. That could be
Okay.
a sign, right? That could be kind of a little signal that, you know so like giving
Okay.
practical,
So, uh, so, so you're saying, for example, with this, do you have a friend that when you
Hmm.
need to see them, you kind of feel awkward, or
Hmm.
you feel resistant to see
Hmm.
them, but you will see them anyway because you're friends for 10 years
Hmm.
or something? So this is that
Yeah,
small thing you're talking about.
yeah.
So how to use that? Because
No,
I
no, no.
think,
This was completely separate from what I was saying before about
what did you
making
mean
it
when you
more
said
specific.
you should use that for content?
No, like even in like a video, Instagram reel or something like that, where you talk about like if this is what's happening, then that might be a sign, and potentially that could mean these things. Like it could mean that you know there's something that's happening there that you don't feel comfortable with for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can do that with anyone, right? Like if you feel more at home, you feel more comfortable with when there's where people are yelling or something like that, it might mean that. Do you know what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think most people don't recognize those things. So by
Okay,
pointing it
so
out,
what I should do, for example, is I should write different topics and then examples for those topics,
yeah,
because
I think
it's a
so.
lot about like crossing
Without the
boundaries, people
examples,
pleasing,
yeah,
imposter syndrome. So
I
my
actually think
advice.
that's what I'm thinking about doing for on the in circle, doing
Mhm.
story bank with basically every lesson in there already, and
What?
then like
Can you repeat that?
so for example, right, I might have a story in the story bank. I might have a post
Okay.
there about um, how uh, the more choice you have, the less happier you're going to be, or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So that's a lesson, right? And then I'm going to write up what the myth is. Like, here's the myth. But the truth is, like, myth is that people think the more choice is better, right? More the
Okay.
merrier, or whatever. The truth is, the more choices that you have, the less happier you'll be.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point on, I'm going to come up with all the different examples, right? So one example might be that, um, the example that I give about the painting, when people took home the painting where they had the choice to
Mm-hmm.
change it, those people are less
Mm-hmm.
happier, right? Like in with online dating, people are less happier with the in a relationship now that there's too many options.
Okay.
Same thing with like the same thing can work in like a restaurant when you have too many options to choose from. Um, Netflix. But I can also talk about how when you give your design options to clients, you want to make sure that you give less options as possible. But that can also apply in a business where you know there if you're a restaurant, you want to have less items on your menu. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it it can apply in so many different areas in life, right? Like if you're a real estate agent, like don't show them more than three houses, right? Because the more houses you show them, like the more they're not gonna buy. There's so many different industries that the same lesson can apply to, and people can add their own, and then it just multiplies, right? And then I'm gonna add another lesson, and that lesson might be give me a lesson, give me the lesson that you were just gonna do.
Lesson is, let me see. You're part of the problem and the solution. Um,
No, that's not a lesson.
okay. Only if you distance yourself from the problem, from your patterns, you can be aware of them and change them. Okay, this is not a good lesson. I don't know, speak your truth or something like that. Is that a lesson?
Yeah, that sounds more like a lesson. Yeah, I guess that's kind of where you lost me with that because I feel like the carousel was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like like if a girl grows up in an environment where everyone's always yelling, she's gonna end up thinking that this is, imagine like, I feel like up to here was good,
Yeah.
right? But this is how you can use, like, this is how you can anchor it even better. Like like a girl growing up in a loud environment. Let's go with this for now. Will believe it's completely normal. Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we'll do the other anchoring by saying something like, just like a fish doesn't know things being in water. Well, maybe some we need a, maybe, you know what? We need something like, oh, because that's all she knows. Just like a fish doesn't know they're wet,
Mm-hmm.
because that's all they know. And then, like, see,
Let's
the
start from the
problem is
beginning,
though,
just to see, that just to
we just don't have the lesson.
just a teeny tiny problem.
Tiny problem. Here, well, what we have to do now is, um, okay. Like, imagine like, um, girl parents fighting, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this one. I mean, an image like this is good because I can probably put the copy up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Would you put that picture over two frames or only on one?
Hell no. Why would I
Hell,
put it over two frames?
It looks like it's like, I don't know,
Horizontal.
rectangular shape.
Yeah. Well, if it's that, I think maybe this one will work better, right? Do you know what I mean? Do you see my screen still?
Yes, yes.
The thing is, I would probably do this in Photoshop
What do you
because
want to do right now?
I want to make the background blue like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I mean I hope there's a better tool that can do that. Um, I don't know if you can do it here, but you see how like you can see like what I want to do is I want to make it so that it just blends in here, right? For example. So to do that, I would probably bring it in Photoshop and do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, what I'll do is I'll just fake it. I'll just fake it till I make it. So
What
what
are
I'll do
you
is
doing? Where is that option?
so what I did was that image.
Okay.
I I put a fill. Fill is like a color in it with the gradient.
Okay.
So instead of an image, now it's a gradient, right? And then I can pick a color, and then I'm gonna pick like this color. That's where I want it to fade from, and then I'm gonna fade it to the same color, but make it an opacity of 0.
I didn't understand a word, but
You don't understand.
no.
Um, Basically, what I'm doing here
So you're now
is
editing, you're not editing picture, you're editing oh, I see. You want to kind of make this background smoother.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know how to do it. It's not working. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe that just doesn't work. I'll bring it back. Yeah, I just want that background to be like smoother.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like normally, what I'll do is I'll just bring it in Photoshop. Maybe what I can do is like this. Yeah, I'll just do it in Photoshop for now.
Okay, and will the letters stay gray?
Like I think in Canva, you can
Mm-hmm.
actually like cut out the background.
Yeah, but it's for paid version.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm learning Photoshop right now, so
Are you?
maybe I surprise you.
Yeah. So maybe I'll take this, um, bring it in Photoshop like that.
And the same thing, copy and paste in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What I usually do is like if there's like a little bit of space there, I'll
Okay.
just drag that. You see how I took just a
Yeah.
little slice of that,
Yeah.
and then I just drag that. See like this.
Awesome. Perfect.
You can still see the line here. So what I would, if I really want to make it perfect, I just
Mm-hmm.
made another layer. So the same layer twice. You see that?
Uh-huh.
And then the top layer, I'll just kind of blur it a little bit. You see that? I'm blurring
Yeah.
it. So you see this?
Yeah.
So there's like the blur version here.
Mm-hmm.
Because like here, I can kind of still see the lines. So I'll blur it and I'll use the eraser to like erase the part at the bottom only. then you see the top part is still blurred.
Okay.
So it looks even
I
better. You
see.
see
I
like
see. So it's
before.
double. The upper
Yeah.
part is doubled and lower part is only like one
Yeah.
piece. Okay. And I think that you cannot like copy and paste from. You can.
Yeah, of course you can.
So from Photoshop to Figma, you just copied and pasted.
Hmm. So here, I guess we'll say a girl growing up in a loud environment. Like here, the picture is like so centered, right? You see how
Mm-hmm.
the photo is like very centered.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would center the text also.
Oh,
Otherwise, it looks kind of weird like this.
now when you change it, I see it, but I wouldn't see that before.
And like the color wise, I guess, I don't know. First, I'll try white and then I'll try black. Black obviously is more
Mm-hmm.
better, so I'll make it. Here actually I will probably keep the colors the same. Like it's black with 50% opacity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even if you put it over here, it still works.
Okay.
And then maybe I'll highlight like that word or something.
Okay.
But then here, what I didn't tell you is here what we can do is like a woman getting yelled at office, right? Now we can take something like this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. We have good white space and
Good job. Good job, Jelena. Good job. You
but I'm
see
not
here is
sure
like a
about
little.
that corner. Yeah.
I know. So I would. Okay. First thing I'm going to try is I'm going to try to cut here, so you can kind of see that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to just do is, but here it looks like this part can work, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just drag this even more, right?
Oh.
And then here, normally what I would do is, so I'm going to make a copy of it again. You
Can
see
you do
that?
the same thing again with blurring and erasing?
Yeah, I'm going to try that. But I'm going to go one step further.
Okay.
So I'm going to first make this thing brighter. Because you see how by just making it brighter,
Yeah.
you see the
I
background
see. I see. I see.
almost like disappears.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try that first. And then
Hmm.
same thing. You see, like, because behind here is still the original image. You see that? This is just a layer. You see?
Oh, so
Do you
you,
see what I mean?
yeah.
So if I delete, like, for example, a
But
part
you
of this,
doubled it, or when you were doing this function, it
yeah,
creates another layer.
I made a copy of it before.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made a copy of it and I made it like brighter.
Okay.
And then now I'm gonna like delete the bottom of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use like an eraser to delete it like that. You see that?
Okay. And
And
where
then
is that
you see the
eraser?
top?
Okay.
You see the top?
Yeah. I see.
I'm gonna make it even brighter.
I see.
Now,
And tell me, please, where is the eraser?
eraser is over here.
And just that, just you click that, and you're
But if you also hit E, so you see what you don't see is I'm using shortcuts for everything. So if I hit E on my keyboard,
okay.
it goes to eraser automatically.
Oh.
If
E.
I hit A, yeah, if I hit A,
Hmm.
it goes to the arrow. You know what I mean?
Okay. I see.
So I was doing that, yeah. So now that I have these two things, I'm gonna merge them. I'm gonna take the image and then put it in here.
Just like that.
You see?
Yeah.
And then I'll center this again. We'll believe it's completely normal. So
Hmm.
I guess you know what? I think I need a little more aggressive, like this one. But it has this like bar in the middle, which sucks.
Why do you think
Oh man,
it needs to be a little bit more aggressive? I mean, I kind of liked
like
this
it's you
one.
think it's fine? You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you like it, we'll leave it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do something like we can make it a little bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A girl growing up in a toxic environment will believe it's completely normal
Completely normal.
because that's all she knows. Just like a fish, I guess fish.
Fish in a ball.
There's that cartoon, right? It was like, remember this one?
No.
Morning, how's the water? What the hell is water? Yeah, I guess we can just use something like this. I think it'll work. I mean, obviously we can do better. Do you understand what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, but let's just go with it for now. Because that's all they know. We agree that getting yelled at. Okay, so what's the lesson, Jelena? We can agree that being yelled at is far from being perfect in the world, but okay. So knowing this, so I set you up. So just like if a girl grew up in an environment where they're getting a toxic environment, she's gonna think that's normal, just like a fish doesn't blah blah. So now when we set the premise up, what's the
Hmm.
lesson, Yelena? What should we do then?
Jelena.
What should we do? What should we do then, Yelena? If it's not normal.
You're putting pressure on me, please. Uh, so what should we do? I mean, I can explain it, but I think you know what should we do from what we said so far. So this person doesn't know that now she couldn't control the past, but she's contributing the present. What she needs to do is to become aware of, to put their awareness inside how they feel in these events. So,
Got it. So you have to be more aware of your emotions.
yeah.
Well, so how does that? So how does that specifically have to do with? Because right now, what we're trying to debunk is the fact that what you think is what you think is normal is not normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I do think it should go back to like anxiety, like you know, like the way to make this carousel much better, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
would be to start out with something that talks about. mm, I mean, I would love to start out with some sort of a data, like what percentage of people or what percentage of women, uh, like struggles with anxiety, like struggles with anxiety, like on the normal, like on a normal basis, like or something like that,
So
right?
imagine that we have a percentage, like
Hmm.
20 percentage of women is dealing with anxiety every day.
Something like that, yeah.
How would we use that?
Then I would say, you know, um, when uh, when we live in a environment that creates anxiety, we believe that that's normal, right?
Okay.
Just like a girl growing up in a toxic environment is going to think that's normal when she grows up,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So, you know, like your anxiety is not normal. You better get that shit checked out by a therapist. If you want to book a coaching call, go to my link in bio.
And I will turn off my Wi-Fi so that I can hide from everybody. Yeah. Okay.
So you tie it back to basically like the environment, right? Like I feel like there's something to do with like environment and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. Like we live in a environment that induces anxiety and we think that's normal because we grew up in an environment that induces that anxiety. And maybe we can take the whole water shit out with the fish.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your homework. Jelena, are you
Wait.
listening?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm making notes. Um
All of a sudden when I say homework, you're like, wait.
so we are living in an environment that induces anxiety,
Hmm.
and we grew up in an environment that induces anxiety.
Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of I'm thinking of that image with the girl, with the parents always fighting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the person at work who's like probably suffering from anxiety because of their boss or whatever, right? But then if you use those images with that copy, it says completely different things, right? If you say, like most of us who live with anxiety think it's normal
Mm-hmm.
with the image of like us at work. And then because and that's because we grew up in that environment. And then we used a picture of the girl or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're trying to say? And it's because that's all we know
Yeah.
or something like that, right?
So Um,
So the lesson is that you know, like if you are feeling anxious, that's not normal. It's not the norm. So you know, you should seek help or something. Or maybe like, try to figure out where that's coming from. If there's something that you're feeling anxious about in your life,
mhm.
try to figure out where that's coming from or something like that. This is like the perfect example of a post where I said, when you teach something, they're
Okay.
going to have more questions. So as soon
Mhm.
as you post this and you say, that means there's something, if this is happening and you're constantly feeling anxious, it, and you think that that's just that's life. Oh, that's life. Or something like that. People say, oh,
Mhm.
that's just life, right? Well, that's not life. It's not normal. But you think it is because just like a fish thinks water is normal, right? Or something like that. Now it's getting too long. Actually, forget the fish. Just say that's not normal. And then the lesson is something like, uh, something like, if you're always feeling anxious, you should try to dig into where that's coming from, or where you should try to figure out where your anxiety is coming from. Then people are going to be like, Jelena, how? Right? Then you
Mhm.
can make another post that says, in the last post, I said this. And you guys ask how. Well, here's how. One, you can do this. Two, see if you feel this. Blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, and then they're going to ask you more questions. They're like, oh, what about this? What about this? Like, okay, then you can book a call with me. Do you
Okay.
understand what I mean?
Okay. So in terms of how, if I create this, I
Hmm.
mean that they should find the root cause of that anxiety. And if they ask how, then if I name like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is not a
Yeah.
mid-truth sandwich. This is a list of things.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like things like, um, you know, do you feel like you're dragging yourself to work every day? And when
Mm-hmm.
you're like, is there like, do you like do you like, are you really, you know, dragging to go talk to your boss or something? Or, is there somebody at work who's annoying you? Or like whatever, I guess, whatever the things that you said before, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that,
Okay,
you
that can be
know,
said in like video,
yeah.
isn't it?
And I would even just divide those each one of those, instead of saying five and one, I would say one and one. Be like, hey,
Oh.
if you really are hesitant to go talk to your boss for any reason, uh, you know, it might be that, you know, as when you were growing up, this is what happened, or blah 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 blah. Blah. Here all the possible different scenarios of why you might be hesitant to go talk to your boss. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that can be an entire video. And then the next one, you say, hey, if there's some coworker that's really you're bothered by because of this, here might be the possible reasons why. Something like that. You know? Then people are gonna be like, oh, what about this? What about that? And this is how you start a conversation.
Okay. So
So your assignment, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to turn what we just talked about into the carousel for next week. You're
okay.
already kind of like one third of the way there.
Mm-hmm.
You have
It would
like
be
three
good if I
slides.
can if I can I didn't hear that. last one.
I said you have 3 slides
Yeah.
already.
Okay. I will remove the fish. So,
Yeah,
or
forget the
three
fish.
slides plus fish. Anyway, it would be good if I can watch this recording to revisit it.
You can.
Okay. If you send me the link.
Okay. I will. I'm looking forward to seeing it, Jelena.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. You did really good this week.
Thank
You
you.
got 3 carousels. We got three
Yay.
carousels.
Awesome. Yeah. Still, my feeling is that I don't know what I'm doing. So
Me
I'm
too.
like swimming there, trying to survive, and something maybe happens. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what we need. What needs to happen. We have
Hmm.
to do it without any kind of expectation and see what we discover from it.
Yeah. And now I see the value of conversations to come to clarity because I have one person that I talked to, and we talked for an hour about one of those carousels. And she asked me clear questions. Okay, but I didn't understand this. So she was
Hmm.
quite on point for me to find, okay, are you advising for me to be aware of it or how to do it? So, okay, so
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
this, she got me back
She should
to,
join. You should get her to join Night Owl Nation and become a small group leader.
she would be good. I don't think she's interested in that, but
Maybe
if,
she will be.
yeah, she's
She's like,
definitely,
how would you like to debunk everyone's stories?
yeah, yeah,
That's
but
good.
who knows? So this was helping me to be more on point. So when you asked me questions, I was already prepared for this.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
You know.
So maybe you can try to come. Can you try to come up with those questions? Make a list of those questions, good questions to ask. Because I feel like
Mhm.
that's what because
But
that's what I'm doing, and that's
I
what
think
she
it
did.
was, yeah, I think it was topic related because she
I know,
wanted.
but
Hmm.
if we still make a list of those questions,
Hmm.
I think we'll still see a pattern
Yeah.
of how
What
to
I was
ask good questions. Yeah.
okay. What I was starting to write down today is key for mid-truth sandwich. So this is my notes
Okay.
for. So little by little, I
You
will
have to put
ask.
those in Notion so we can all see it.
Yeah, but I don't have many things. I have only is myth a myth, and then what myth means, what you think about myth, and this was when you said what is a good person. So like good people, good things happen to good people. When you said actually like what they think that good is, what you think that good is. So kind
Yeah,
of.
there's probably like I wonder how much of that plays into this the word thing because
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of the reasons why people mistake certain advices is because they mistake certain words. Like for example, like
Hmm.
when they hear vulnerability or being vulnerable, they automatically go to a place of like sad, tragic
Hmm.
trauma and things like that, right?
Okay.
And they don't think of like, you know, they don't think of things like things that are embarrassing or like, like things
Yeah.
that I just don't want to admit to or uh,
Yeah.
stupid stuff. And it's because, or the things that like I'm afraid to do, I'm afraid to say,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I think we automatically assume that that's what that word means. So we need to be really careful about like when we say a certain word,
Yeah.
like good person. What does that really mean?
Yeah, when you ask, I wrote that down somewhere, like good, weak, strong. Um, I don't know where I wrote that. Anyway, so when you said it, like, I don't know actually how to say what is a strong person, or what is, um, how to actually say what is behind this word. Even it's so stupid word like a good person or weak person. What means weak person? So I don't know what's weak person. But
Well, I think
it's,
the truth is that everybody has a different definition of those,
yeah.
and that's why I think a lot of times advices come off wrong or people take misunderstand, and that
So
yeah.
if there is no agreement,
Mhm.
then I need to choose one for the sake of what I want to say. I mean, if
Or
people. Mhm.
what I'm doing is like I'm looking at what people, because I think when people say do what you love, right, or follow your passion, I think what they mean is do what you care about, something that's meaningful to you. And that
Mhm.
means you're gonna have to do a lot of shit that you don't like to do in order to achieve that thing that you
Yeah.
love, right? Something like that. I think
Yeah.
that's what they mean. But I think most people misunderstand do what you love. Okay, a perfect one is this. Like we talked about this last week. Fake it till you make it. When most people hear that, they misunderstand that to be like fake it.
Mhm.
But that's not what fake it till you make it actually means, right? Like fake it till you make it means you actually do have to still try to make it, right? But people just do the fake it part, right? So that means that phrase is misunderstood.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I mean? So, and then I just like when you say good person, I think the word good person is misunderstood, right? Like I think in our society, we think that if we're selfless and just keep doing things for other people in those kind of situations, that's what makes a good person.
Yeah.
But a good person can also be a weak person, in according to that definition. So what we're just trying to clarify the word. Good doesn't necessarily like weak doesn't necessarily mean good. Like you can be weak and
Yeah.
you can be bad. Yeah.
This is where I don't know if you talked this through before, or
Hmm.
this naturally comes to you, but for me it's not so smooth to, after I see that sentence, to start think about, okay, what is the opposite of good? Is a good person, is it
I
empathic?
guess it's like a yeah. It's I mean it's like an existing topic that people talk about, right? Like morality.
Yeah.
Like when you go to church or like you talk about when you talk about religion or you talk about something, you always talk about what's good versus evil and those type of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not too far from that, right? Like, and I've heard like Jordan Peterson talk about like how you know right now, like the feminist movement is trying to make men weaker. They're
Hmm.
not necessarily making the men better. They're just making them weaker because they think that weak means good, right? But the truth is, like, he talks about how in Beauty and the Beast, like how Gaston is that version, right? He's like the version of like the toxic masculinity. The
Hmm.
he's like strong, but he's also bad, right? Whereas in like if you look at Beast, Beast is kind of like the necessary masculinity where you still need strong men to fight other toxic men, right? Otherwise, you let the psychopath take over,
Hmm.
basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then that strong man still has to be good, right? But if that man, if you were just good but weak, there's nothing you can't fight against Gaston. You're useless, basically. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that goes to show kind of talking about. I guess that's when uh, I first
So
heard the concept of
now
like,
feminists or you have coaches and therapists they're speaking about narcissism. They are trying to fight Gaston actually. Um,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Gaston is like that narcissist. Yeah. But then we should embrace someone like, the beast, right?
yeah.
Like,
So do you have that?
because
Do you know how can I find that link where you watched it?
just Google like Jordan Peterson Beauty and the Beast.
Really? Okay.
But I mean, I guess that's where I heard that, and then with the people always talking about good and evil, and then I guess I've also experienced like, okay, like me being a little bitch and not firing this guy is actually not me being good or kind. That's just me
Mm,
being weak, right? So it's like I feel like once you experienced it once, it hits you even harder.
mm-hmm.
Like maybe if Jordan Peterson said that and I haven't experienced this, I'll be like, oh, what are you talking about? That sounds stupid. But then because I've actually experienced it, it's like, oh shit, that hurts even more. And then you learn a bigger lesson out of that.
Mm-hmm. So I will wrote down. I mean, I don't have many things on this paper,
Yeah.
but this is
Why don't you try like all different versions of it? And try this. Sometimes I do this.
what
I'll
all
make a
different.
carousel,
Okay.
like completely draft, like, oh, it's like doesn't even make sense, whatever, right? And I'll
Okay.
make a copy of it and I'll do a second version and I'll make a copy of it and second version and so on and so on and so on. And sometimes I'll have like 20 different versions of this, iterations of the same carousel.
Okay.
But then from there, it just kind of becomes clear, like, oh, where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And it also
Okay.
becomes clear what's not working.
So I'll do my best to try that.
Do your
Uh,
best. That's all I ask.
so one more thing that I'll try. I know that I should have like a specific person, like who and what. So I'm aware of that. But still, my topics are too broad. But when my client come to therapy and when we talk, I have much more specific insight because sometimes they come with some myth and I reply something about that. So maybe I should have. So this is one what I want to try it out, but I don't know if I will do it. So this is my thoughts. Uh, to make a meat shoot sandwich for my client
Yeah.
because I'm already doing that.
Try to like come up with those examples, like, you know, and I think that's a really good practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Um,
And
so
then
that.
also, like,
Mhm.
yeah. But I would say also what you said is true about like when you when you make it about a specific person, those examples become much more clear. And I also think it becomes easier to do when you think
Mhm.
of a specific person.
Um, so what I want to say also is I think that when you kind of mix things around, when you create that meat sandwich, or right now when you did um, like two examples, and I will read it to you. Mm, let me ask you. There's the first thing. If you lend money to a friend even though you can't afford to, then
Hmm.
does that make you a good person? Then the other example. If you give your child an iPad every time they ask, does that make you a good person? So this kind of these things, this is kind of a I don't know, like one technique or like one way to do it. So what I want to pay attention to, is there some repetition, because I come with one meat truth sandwich. There is a like a blunt. You have a myth, you have example, you have the truth, but you kind of mix things some way, and I think there is some order to it. Maybe you're not aware of it, but I want to list that or
Explore it.
something. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I see that, you know,
Yeah, that's good question. I don't know. Maybe.
because it looks like you repeated that so many times that you don't know why you're doing that. It's just nicer,
Yeah.
but it's a pattern, and there is like, I think, limited number of patterns you're using,
Hmm.
but you're not aware of them.
Can you find them?
My assumption. So this is one, and I will write that down. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I will
it's
have
true.
my, I don't know, pattern bank or something.
Yeah, we just have to do this for a while, and then
Yeah,
eventually we'll figure it all out.
yeah,
It's just like nobody has the patience to do this work, I feel like. But
yeah.
anyway, thank you, Jelena. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. I'll see you all next week. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.